Most people think success in business and success in marriage just happen, but the data tells a different story. Nearly 30% of entrepreneurs end up divorced, about twice the rate of non founders. And many business owners report decreased focus and well being when their relationships struggle. At the same time, couples who agree on work life balance have up to 45% less marital strain, showing that balance matters more than hustle. Today, we are breaking down what it truly takes to thrive in both marriage and business. Today's guest is a creative wellness consultant and founder of Coffee Milk Media. She helps leaders blend purpose, creativity, and well being, and she is the executive producer of TEDx Round Rock Women. We are excited to hear her insight on what it takes to succeed in both marriage and business. Bravehearts community, let's show some love to Kiosha. How are you doing this evening?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
I am great. This topic, especially with everyone becoming entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs that's married, I think this is a timely topic. And so I
Hmm.
wanted to jump into the questions. And so, how do you define success in both marriage and business?
Success for me, I talk a lot about holistic success because we grow up thinking that success is just about how much you have in the bank, what you drive, type of car, what type of house you live in,
Mm.
that sort of thing. But holistic success is important to me. And that's looking at the totality of your life. It's more of a wholeness type of view, and seeing that you have healthy relationships, that you are stewarding your money well, not just that you're making a bunch of money, but you're stewarding it well, right? Stewarding your time well, you have great relationship with your kids, you are emotionally regulated, and like all of that is success to me. So I would say at the foundation of that, it's peace and clarity and stewardship. That's success to me.
I love that. Yeah, stewardship. We don't talk about that enough. I mean,
Mm-mm.
is that just a biblical term? We don't use in today's culture. But I love it though. But I'm just like, oh man, I love the stewardship because when I talk about stewardship, people kind of look at me like, what's that?
Yeah, because we only use that in church for the most part about being a good steward. But actually, even like what we're talking about today is so important because, just learning how to do business with my husband or even separate from him, right? You
Mm.
have to steward your relationship in that just like you steward your money and you steward your time and you steward, where you're spending it. Like all of that, I think life is really about stewardship and the things that we learn in life, in business, in marriage, in relationships. Stewardship is the foundation of that too.
I love it. Yeah, I'm glad you talked about that because I didn't want everybody looking at me sideways. I'm like, see, y'all, I told y'all stewardship is a real thing.
Mm-hmm. It is. It
Yeah.
is.
And I love that you talk about stewarding in different areas of your life. And like you said, not just making a lot of money, but knowing how to steward it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and life lessons has taught me the hard way about stewardship, and it's just business entrepreneurship will show you yourself in so many different ways. It will show you where you need to grow. It will show you your like where you're strong at, but also, like I said, where you need to grow. And that's what it did. It holds up a mirror, but so does marriage.
Mm,
And I think that you actually get to see yourself and the things like, I hate to say weaknesses, even though that's an okay word for people to use
mm,
if they so choose, but I like to say opportunities for growth. So, the toughest time in my business life has been a tough time in my marriage, because when you're in survival mode in your business, then sometimes you can be in that patch of survival mode in your marriage as well, because it causes a strain. But then when you learn to well, steward your relationship well, and all the things that I mentioned, it brings more ease, because stewardship brings more clarity. And it means that you are responsible, And also that you appreciate and have gratitude for what God has blessed you with on all ends, you
Mhm.
know. And so, but life lessons taught me to, like, I learned the hard way.
Mm. Yeah, me too. Welcome to the club. It happens. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, because it's through my trials that I learned stewardship myself, right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get it. But there's so much I want to ask you about that, but
Let's
we'll
go.
come back to that because there's some stuff we need to unpack there. So what boundary has protected your relationship the most while building your career?
The boundary that's, we had to set boundaries with our families. I think
Mm,
that has been, so we have 5 children, two which are, we're a blended family. So two of my bonus babies are our oldest sons. We have two older sons. We have two sons together and then a daughter together. So 5 babies. And I say babies, but
yeah.
we have grown kids and then like we have 3 grown kids. But we've had to set boundaries around the 7 of us, like really protect that, right? Because I think sometimes you are in families that, whether they're close knit or not, older generations have this idea of what life should look like a lot
Mhm.
of times. And so how you parent, like all those type of things, and they want to sometimes, well, they have good intentions, but they cross boundaries. And so we've had to put boundaries around our entire family. But even with that in our relationship, just a big thing for us was communication and putting boundaries around that. But the family, I think, was kind of infiltrating in a lot of the situations. And when you're in a high stress situation like survival mode in your business and just trying to make it out here in this world, um the outside voices can be a lot. So I think that's the biggest boundary that we put up that protect our relationship.
Mm, yeah, that has to be a struggle too, especially when it comes to family, right? Because you love your family, but
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah, you love your family, but you love your family, right? It's like you have this family, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents, your parents, your siblings, you love them, but you also love this family that you now have, right? And it doesn't necessarily exclude them, but this is your nucleus now. These are the little people that you're responsible for. This is the relationship that, God has placed in your life to steward. And so it's a different type of responsibility. And sometimes it's hard to separate from your family on the outside, but sometimes it's necessary to protect your family on the inside.
mm, yeah, yeah, because we have little ones. You know my wife, and
Yes.
it's a struggle. I mean, with little ones, it's just like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
But they go to events with us and stuff like that, so they see us working from an entrepreneur perspective, right? And so
Yeah.
I hope that starts something in them to want to do their own thing one day. So even though sometimes it could be stressful, I'm like they'll remember these small moments where it's like, oh yeah, we did go to vending events and we got to meet people and sold some books and even with the boys, I try to help them talk to the customer sometimes because the books are about
Yeah.
so
No, it's beautiful. And they also need to see when things are not on the up. I
yes.
think that was important too. Like our 20-year-old remembers more than everybody else. And he has just, I know we overuse the word resilience. People will talk about that a lot, but it's a real word and it's a real thing. But he knows how to go through transitions because he's been through those transitions. And so he knows that, we taught him about seasons
Mm-hmm.
because seasons change. Like this season might not be that great, but then the next season, as you keep working, both faith and works, right? You keep working the formula,
Mm-hmm.
things will get better. But then this season, you may be on a high for a little bit, and then something happens, which is another lesson, right? Another opportunity for God to prove Himself too.
Mm-hmm.
But we need that because life is like that. So the kids need to see that, and I think entrepreneurship is a great lesson of resilience.
Yes. Yeah, because when we had a vending event Sunday or Saturday at Kalahari, it was windy and
Mm.
we didn't know we was gonna make it because my wife sells books and posters and stuff like that. I mean, stuff blowing everywhere. I was just like this close from calling it quits. I'm like, man, we just pack it up. It's Saturday. Let's just go home and chill, watch Tubi or something. I don't know. Yeah, we stayed, and I'm glad, and I'll say that I'm glad that we stayed. So
Hmm.
everything worked out. So that resilience, because I was struggling.
You're like, I really want this to be over. But then if I just pack up and go right now, what is that gonna say to my boys? They're gonna be like, you
Mhm.
just gave up because of
Yeah,
some wind? Because kids, they think we're supposed to withstand everything.
I
But
know.
it's a great lesson, but it's a beautiful lesson for us too. We learn a lot in those moments too.
Totally agree. What business habits help a marriage thrive?
Ooh, I'm not gonna use the word boundaries again, but totally that, but also balance. Um, Before I became an entrepreneur, my husband was one first.
Mm,
And so he had a really good, like, he would do work and then he was done. He
mm,
never really brought work home, even when he was working like in tech or whatever job that he had. Once he was done at 5 o'clock, he didn't bring work home. It gets a little hard to do that when you're an entrepreneur
yeah,
because it's like you basically, it feels like you're working all the time, like you don't have office hours, right? But he was always good with that. I wasn't so much great with that. Like if I thought of something I had to do it right now, it was 7 o'clock, and he would be like, hey, now it's time to like spend time with the kids.
yeah.
Right. So balance has been a great business practice, really setting, even as an entrepreneur, office hours. Yes, for my clients and people who I communicate with through email or by phone, but also with myself, setting boundaries with myself to say, nope, on Wednesdays, one of my sons, he has basketball games. So instead of me rushing off of a call at 5:30 to get to his game at 6 o'clock, I'm done at 3. That way I have a chance to really take a breath, chill
Mhm.
out for a little bit before I get in here and listen to all these basketballs bouncing. Um, like just taking a pause. I'm really big on being still, slowing down. That's a big practice for me. And setting those boundaries around my time and that balance in the business is a part of that.
Mm. Wow, that's good. So, what do you say to someone who might be struggling with trying to find that balance? Because a lot of people struggle with saying that I can really level this playing field. What would you say to them who might be struggling with that?
I would say think about it. So I use the word balance because finding work life balance is very, people have heard of that, right? Because we've talked about that a lot. But really what I started to implement is work life harmony. So
Mm,
if you're having a hard time with a stop, I think the vision that I give when I do workshops, wellness workshops, is like imagine yourself standing in the very middle and then like looking at all of the things around you, right? Your work should revolve around yourself and your family, not the other way around. So then that means everything around you should harmonize with your life. Nothing is too loud. If we think about music, or so I was a choir kid,
mm,
so, a really good choir director can hear when somebody's flat in the alto section. Who is that? Off key. Right? When
mm,
you're standing in the middle and you think, okay, something is off key. It's not harmonizing with my life. If it's work and you're working way too much and you're burnt out and you can't think, like all of those things, which is why I use writing to reflecting, kind of writing things down, writing my feelings out, but being honest with myself about this thing being off key in my life. And either I fine tune it and it stays, or it does not stay. So I'll go back to what I said before. Slow down,
yeah.
right? Take some time to just kind of, and I know people say, what's hard when you're an entrepreneur? Is like you working. No, that's a choice,
Mm,
right? We can choose to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes in the morning, or if your creativity or your energy is more up in the afternoon or the evening, whenever that's up, take some time to slow down and really evaluate, take inventory of what's off tune in your life, and fix
mm,
it, get rid of it or fine tune it. And I don't mean to say that like everything is easy, because I know somebody will say, well, what if it's my mama, right? So I get that you can't just, it's different things, but what my point is, You deserve to prioritize those things so that your life is in harmony, so that you have peace and you can breathe, and that the relationships that are important to you, and even your business, because your business benefits when we are in harmony, our life and our work is in harmony. So you deserve that, to slow down and just, pay attention to those things and do something about it.
Mm, that's good. And so I'm kind of I want to flip this a little bit. And so we talked about business habits that help a marriage thrive, but what are some business habits that hurt a marriage then?
Oh, I'll tell you, for me and my husband, he's very supportive, but it didn't make me feel good, which then in turn would sometimes be a source of contention for us, which is I was networking all the time. Like, I was always at some type of event because when I first started my business, I thought that's what you had to do. Like, if there's a networking event, I'm going to that. I'm going to that, even if it didn't make sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just going and being in all these different spaces, which means I was always gone, which for him, he was supportive, but it didn't make me feel good. So now I'm agitated and I'm all emotional, like, it just, but that's because this is on me. Like, I've been out here going to all these different places that didn't even align with my business or what I needed. I just thought that that's what you had to do. So, yeah, that was it for me. It just wasn't, it made me emotional and not feel good about not spending that time with my family or with my husband specifically, even though he was supportive. It just kind of threw me off emotionally. I knew that that's where my heart wasn't there. And every time I would go to a networking event that didn't yield a return,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you're investing your time and your energy because you have to talk to people, all those things, and it didn't yield a return. It felt like seeds falling on barren ground when I could have been investing that time and with my honey,
Mm-hmm.
watching movies or like just doing something else.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I agree because I know when my wife first started her business, we were at vending events every weekend. I mean, we were gangbusters. I mean, we were everywhere, and I
Hmm.
get it because she's trying to get out there, new to the game, and but going into this year, like year two, is like okay, we're gonna be intentional about
Hmm.
which events we choose because, like you say, it requires so much, especially when you're doing vending events. You got to set up,
Y'all got
bring
to set up.
yeah,
Yeah. You got to put everything up all pretty, and then you got to spend that time to take all that stuff down, and being in spaces that don't even align. It really doesn't make any sense for you to be there, but it's a vending event, so you feel like you have to be in front of people, but it's being in front of the right people and the
right.
audience that you want to connect with, and that's the missing piece that I had.
Mhm. Yeah, the demographic is so important, and
Hmm.
that's so foundational. It's like, who are you talking to? Are you talking to your target audience, or are you talking to everybody?
Yeah, because I don't have a problem with plumbers, but I'm giving an example. Like, I went to this networking event and everybody's like, you have to go because of the person who was actually hosting the event. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. And walk in, I'm thinking I had my book publishing company at the time. I wanted to be intentional about where I was going. So I thought this was a great space. And it was more plumbers and flooring and all of those things, which, hey, at some point you may need a plumber, at some point you may need, tile for your floor. But I was in a space where I wanted to be very intentional about who am I going to see? Like, who is my audience? And my audience wasn't there. And so I had to scale back a little bit on going to, not a little bit, a lot, on going to all of these networking events to be like, okay, so if I say I want this, then I need to be in proximity to that, which means I need to be intentional about the spaces that I align myself with to be close to what I say that I want.
Mhm.
Um, without, without, forsaking, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
spaces where I can still connect and meet a plumber and all these other type things. But there comes a point in your business where you just want to be very intentional about who you're trying to connect with, what you're trying to do, and then go there.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I had to learn that myself as well, especially even having with the online presence. Even that,
Hmm.
like who are you talking to? Um, yeah, I had to learn that one. And so I know you talked about your husband. being able to separate when work from home. But how do you stay emotionally present at home after giving so much to your business?
Especially, it's work.
Yeah.
It's work,
Yeah.
especially when you work from home. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was working at Dell, and well, my last stint at Dell was remote before COVID, but prior to that, when I was working on campus here in Round Rock, it was easier because you leave work, you get that time in the car,
Yeah.
right before you get home,
Mm-hmm.
and you might even sit in the car for a little while before
Mm-hmm.
you go in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But when you work from home, it's more work because you're already here.
Yeah.
And so there's not really a place. I love to I'm an early morning person. So I wake up super early in the morning to make sure I'm spending time with God.
Mm-hmm.
And I go outside on the patio and I sit there for a little bit. That's kind of my break before the work even gets started.
Yeah.
Just asking God to go before me
Mm-hmm.
and, to just order my steps throughout the day, making sure that I'm walking in aligned spaces and according to his will. So my prayer and devotional time is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But I will take a break in the middle of the day. And, I think we get conditioned when we work and like for other people, right? When we have a W-2 where you have your two breaks and then you have your lunch.
Mm-hmm.
When you are an entrepreneur, I think sometimes we have to remind ourselves that we still need to take a break and we
Yes.
still need to eat lunch, right? So,
Yeah.
because I've gone, a whole day many a times without eating, and then realize at 3, 4 o'clock I have not eaten today,
Yeah.
and which is also not good, right? It's not giving you energy, and if you sit down all day, you need that fuel at least for your creativity and your mental.
Mm-hmm.
But I still take my breaks. Like I get up, and that I had to teach myself to get up, but I get up, I go back outside. I may come lay down in the bed
Mm-hmm.
for a little bit and just be like, I'm tired of sitting up. I just need to relax for a little bit, close my eyes. I've been looking at the computer all day,
Yeah.
like that sort of thing. So breaks, and breaks are important, man. You have to take a break.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Yeah, those breaks so valuable because we live in a world where it's like everything is just go go go, hustle hustle hustle, go get it, and it's like giving yourself just a moment to breathe. You know,
Yes.
even I know even for like at night, like the room that I'm recording in, I leave my phone in here and then I go to my bedroom. Like I don't sleep with my phone in the room. So I'm
Yes.
just like, nope. I have had enough screen time today. Trying to business stuff, transactions, all this stuff, social media posting. I'm one man band, and when I'm in the room, when I go in my bedroom and I close the door, and no phone.
That's actually a great practice.
Hmm.
I remember seeing something one time where this mom, she had, so right in their foyer, or foyer if you're fancy, they had this table where everybody would leave their phones there all night. So by a certain time, the kids had to have it up. Her and her husband put it up, and then that way they're not, because that affects your sleep too. When you have that light in your face,
Hmm.
and I admit that I like to watch TV before I go to bed, so I already kind of have a light in my face. But being on your phone is an extra added thing. So that's a good practice to kind of, because it's distracting.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's distracting.
Yeah. Yep. My wife be like, I admire how your head can just hit the pillow and you're done. I'm like, I be tired for real, for real. I'm up
Yeah.
at 25 every morning.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, I will go to sleep in a New York minute. And the last thing I need is a phone because I'll get the doom scrolling and I done spent another 45 minutes. Now I'm groggy because I didn't go to sleep on time and I got my phone. It's too much. I have an old
It's a
school,
cycle.
yes, a cycle. I have an old school digital clock in my room.
Mm.
And so yeah, my alarm go off in the morning. I turn my little alarm off. My phone is in the other room. I posted about it on social media.
That's
I was like,
good.
y'all know what this is? It was a digital clock.
I'm about to write that down because
It
that's actually a good idea.
yes, yes. If you can disconnect, Now, granted, if you got kids in college and they're in a different state,
Mm-hmm.
I get it. You know, mom brain, I understand. But for the most part, most people they'll be all right. Especially if they know that you have your. I'm not sleeping with my phone in the room. I suggest y'all not do nothing stupid because I
Yeah,
won't find
because
out
I will
until
not be available.
yeah. And
I
people,
heard a dad say that on social media. I think either that his daughter's house was catching on fire or something, and he said, "But why are you calling me and not the fireman? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, y'all are bugging me at this time of the day. What am I gonna do?" And I went, "You know what? That make a lot of sense. Why are y'all calling me?"
funny, yeah, right.
Ugh,
Yeah, but I've been doing that for a while. I've been doing that maybe a little bit over 2.5 years, maybe 3 years now.
that's a good practice.
Yeah, I love it.
Great practice.
I love it. And so, what conversations do couples need to have early about time, money, and vision?
Ooh, that's good. Time, money, and vision. Um, honest conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I had to say what type of conversation, completely honest. However, sometimes that's why it's so important to heal, and I can go down a very huge rabbit hole with that because sometimes we don't know what type of time we need. We don't know like what to contribute to the conversation depending on where we are in our lives and our growth journey.
Mm-hmm.
But wherever you are with that, with time and finances and those things and vision, share it honestly, knowing though that it may change because you change. And sometimes we want things when we first get married or when we're younger. And then as we get older, we mature and get more wiser. And, you know, our relationship strengthens, our vision changes, and that's okay. But the key is to be honest about it from the very beginning. And if you're adding a business in it, whether y'all are doing the business together or one of you have a business, that's a whole different, you know, set of expectations. So to be honest about, hey, I know, you know, you have this new business now and we have all these clients we have to service and you have to be late or whatever, but just be clear. Communication is important
Yeah.
as the vision changes and as the, you know, the way you do things changes. Just keeping the communication open is important. And my husband and I had to work on that. We had to work on that. We thought we were clear,
Mm-hmm.
but then we realized, because we've been married almost 21 years now, to be next month. What we realized is we both had different communication styles, so we were saying the same things a lot, but we weren't really hearing each other all the way because I wasn't communicating in the way that he can hear. I was communicating in the way that I can hear it, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that happened over time. You
Yeah.
know, we thought we were clear, but then we realized, okay, we weren't that clear because we didn't even know what we needed or wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so as time went on, you know, those things got better because we were growing together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you gotta, and you gotta have those tough conversations. And I learned
Yes.
later, because I struggle with that, still do to a degree sometimes, depending on how I'm feeling. I'm just like, we gotta have this conversation. Like, we're just doing so good.
You're like, we just for the last 3 weeks has been great. And
Just
here
been
we go.
here we go. I'm like, oh my god! All right, here we go.
But you know what? I've learned that those times are okay too. Like we need the because I used to hate it. I used to be so emotional about everything, and my husband just would not really tap into emotions too much. But that was a security thing for him,
Mm,
right? And for me, I didn't. I needed to learn how to regulate my emotions, so that was a huge lesson for me.
yeah,
But those times where there's a conflict or there, because how do we expect to need conflict resolution skills at work, conflict resolution skills in our business, but not with the person that we're the closest to? Like you, that's who gonna feel most of the stuff first.
yep,
Like that's
exactly.
who gonna get it before the client we need to fire, right? It's gonna be, and 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be our partner, and sometimes not intentional. It's
Yeah,
just that we're all in the whatever. But we need to have that, and I think that we grow through those moments of having to learn how to speak to each other differently. Because
Mm-hmm.
the way that we communicated with each other 15, 20 years ago, it's not the way that we communicate with each other now because
Yep.
we're different people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need those things to, I think it gets us closer, especially if we're effective in our communication and we really care if the other person hears and we validate what they say.
Yes, yes, because that's a huge one. I was going to talk about that. Like, I heard you say, because my wife and I were
Yes.
talking. Okay, so you said, and just repeating that back to them.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking that time because one, it shows that you were actually listening. Two, you hearing it again, and so it's like you're really clear.
Exactly. And if you heard it wrong, that gives them the opportunity to say, no, that's not what I meant when I said that. And then you get more clarity,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you just, if you don't say what I heard you say, or you don't validate what they say, then you just kind of go on with whatever you thought you heard. And it could be the wrong thing. Or if you're the type of person that listen to respond and not actually listen, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gathering the information and you're discerning what's happening in the moment, then you gonna totally miss it because all you're thinking about is what you're going to say next. And so listening is a huge part of that for sure.
Yes, yes, and we even had to get to the place where we talking. It's like put your phone down because I
Mm-hmm.
be in the middle of something and my wife will say something to me and I'm just like I need to finish it. But I'm like, you know what? Let me put this thing down.
Oh, that's me. That's me. We were talking, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. As my business is growing, I'm so sorry, my allergies are crazy. As my business is growing, I found myself kind of slipping back into, oh, an email pop up, which is why I took email notifications off my phone.
Yeah.
Because an email pop up and I go, oh, I gotta answer that. This is what I'm thinking. But we're in the middle of a conversation. And not too long ago, he just stopped talking. And
Yeah.
he went, I'm gonna wait until you put the phone down. And then I put the phone down and he just politely said, when we're talking, it's rude for you to pick up the phone, which it is. I'm having a conversation with a whole nother person while he's having a conversation with me. Right. So that's not listening. That's not being in the moment. That's not being present. That's
Yeah.
not showing respect,
Yeah.
too. It's in saying that I really want to hear what you're saying. That's a moment for connection.
Mm,
And I think that gets lost in business. It can, where if you're working together, you become partners in the business more than you are partners in life,
mm,
right? You're a romantic partners.
mm.
And so you're just talking about business all the time. And we were there at one point too, where everything was just business, business, business. And um, yeah, I was like, I'm tired of this. You got to be my boyfriend. Like, forget the husband thing. We got to get back to us dating.
Yeah.
That's important.
Very important. Yeah, gotta put the phone down. That's why I say when I put my phone up when I'm going to bed and
Hmm.
in the bedroom, she got my undivided attention. There's nothing vying for it, you know. And so
Yeah.
it just help increases intimacy because it's like, no, you have my,
Yeah.
let me turn sideways and look at you instead of and
Yeah.
just full attention because attention is like the new currency. So
Yes. Oh, that's good. Write that down too. I'm gonna quote you on that one.
yeah. actually, I took it from Gary Vaynerchuk, but
Love it.
but Gary, I said it more than 3 times. So after I say it more than 3 times, it's like,
It's yours.
yeah, yeah. That's,
Love it.
what does leadership look like inside a marriage?
So we have a pretty traditional like marriage in that and I know when people say the thing about the man being the head and all that stuff, and I like it that way. Me personally.
Talk about that.
So leadership in our house looks like, and this is how I was raised, and he was raised this way too, but I was raised primarily by my grandparents. My mama was young when she had me. So my grandfather was the true patriarch in our family. He didn't make decisions without my grandmother. So they had conversations about things, but at the end of the day, if he said no, she would be like, your dad said no.
Mm,
It wasn't like overriding anything that he said. And so that's what I grew up watching. And that's actually what I wanted. I wanted an alpha male who could come in and, but not bulldoze me, not, not I'm not silent. I
Right.
don't it's not that I don't have a say. It's
Right.
like none of those things are happening because they don't even fit me personally. But I love that. But also I am a leader in this house too, right?
Yep.
Sometimes it's not a dad question, it's a mom question. He'll be like, hey, go ask your mom. Go
Mm-hmm.
check in with your mom, make sure your mom is okay. So we share leadership, but still biblically we
Yep.
still believe that he's the head, and that's how we operate in this house, but we share the leadership. And I think, for us in the conversations that we have with our kids, it gives a really good lesson too. So we have mostly boys, but so I'll say my sons first. It gives a great lesson to them in that you can still have this responsibility to God to be the head of your household and respect your wife.
Yes.
You can still say, you don't have to bulldoze and just go, oh no, what I say goes. No, she's your partner.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to her, y'all discuss. And even with my husband, he'll ask me, what do I think? Just like I'll go to him and say, what do you think? If I say no, well, I don't think that's a great idea, he trusts me enough to not move forward with it because we are actually doing this life together.
Yes.
So that shows my boys that they can still be the man of their house. They can still do all these things because, the whole, macho thing. Sometimes with some guys with masculinity, that means like to bulldoze and override.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, no, you still have to have, like, your partner is your partner.
Right.
She's your partner. Y'all are doing this life together, and you want her to feel valued and heard and seen, as you should also feel valued, heard, and seen. So it's a partnership. And I think it teaches my daughter the same thing. Like, she has this reverence for her dad as her protector, and she knows she's safe with him. But then also she see her mama running a business that's growing and all these things. So she sees leadership from both sides.
Yeah. I love that. That's good because with culture today, we gotten away from the Bible, and a lot of times I don't need no man telling me what to do, and I can make my own money, and all these different narratives, and I get it, times has changed, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, if you have a man who can lead, like what woman doesn't want that? Not only problem will be is like, are you okay with him really leading? Because if he gonna lead, he gonna lead.
Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, and we can go down such a rabbit hole with that. Because, I mean, I see both sides. Like, I see why women who say that are like, because there's some man in their lives that disappointed them and didn't protect them and wasn't present and all of those things.
Mhm.
But and the reality is, no, you don't necessarily need a man. Like, you don't need one. However, if God sends you one to relieve you from those roles and duties that you've had to take over, and now you don't have to, and you
Mhm.
can breathe and be feminine and just be you, just be yourself, then okay, that's beautiful, right? But I was raised by a single mom. My mom was single most of my life, and I am around single mothers in the nonprofit organization that I work in, and I see them doing it. But we also need y'all in a sense. So we don't need you, but we do need you.
Right.
Like, that's why I say it's a whole rabbit hole thing. But I think that that's why it's important as a society that we show up for each other. Because even for a woman that may not have a man in the house, if there's a man that has, that is integrous and all these different things, but can come around and help in some type of way, or fill in the gap if dad is not there for the babies or whatever, that village, I think most importantly we've lost that.
Yep.
Because the reality is not every woman's going to have a man in the house, but there should be a man present somewhere that's
Mhm.
a great, you know um role model, and it's just great example of what it is. It's for boys and girls, not just for boys but also for girls, because it's important for girls to see that too.
And that's true. Yeah, because I just finished reading this book called Margin.
Mm.
Really good book. It started out kind of slow, but I'm glad I finished it. Christian based book, and he was talking about how many of us are maxed out with our time, maxed out in our money, maxed out in our mental health. Like there's no margin,
That's
you know,
good.
there's no gap. And he was saying when we have a gap, we can be able to help other people because we're giving from our overflow opposed to scraping, the bottom of the barrel trying to help somebody else. And so as a man, if you can create margin in your life, then you can be that example for other people because you have that time, you have that margin.
Mm,
But when you're fighting, every day, I mean, your 24 hours is, I mean, everything is maxed out.
mm-hmm,
can't you can't help anybody else. You can't even help yourself because your time management is off, your money's off. Again, stewardship, right?
mm-hmm.
And so yeah, and I heard what you were saying about that, and that's what I was thinking. I said, yeah, I said because if we have margin, we can have a community of people because
Yeah.
created that gap, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All,
we can have a cure, but also I think that we need to be kinder to men in the
mm,
sense of y'all have a lot of pressure that we as women, and I'm saying we as women, but I'm not trying to make a blanket, because I understand that there are some of us that do understand this, but y'all have a lot of responsibility and it's a lot of pressure. And not that we don't have it, but what women, I think what we have more of than what y'all have is the space to actually like talk about your feelings, to pursue healing without people thinking, whatever about you, right? I think we also need to be softer in the sense of allowing men, those that are ready to step up and those that are integrous, to be there. Like just allowing y'all to stand in the gap and fill those margins, right? So
mm,
it goes both ways. And for me, all of that goes towards healing. It's all individual work that we have to do within ourselves because we can't rely on society to change like as a whole.
yeah,
But if we really take a look at our personal lives and whatever traumas we've gone through and just dive in deep and say, okay, God, show me,
mm-hmm,
right? Then we can also see how we see other people. And also I think because when we're not in a position or a posture for healing, we can miss our blessings so many times in relationships,
yes,
and not just romantic relationships, husband and wife, but just the relationships around us, talking about that village, right? Talking about that margin that we can help to fill for each other.
mm-hmm, yeah. Because there's a scripture where Paul talks about, popular piece of scripture where he said, I know how to do with and I know how to do without,
Mm-hmm.
depending on which translation you read. But then he talks about, um, I've learned the secret, and that secret is being content.
Yes.
Because if we're content, then we don't care what culture and society says. We like, I'm good. I don't have to have this in order for me to feel valid, or I don't need.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm content. And when we get to the place of being content, that's when we can create that margin in our life, and then
Yes.
we can help other people. And so when he talked about that secret, I was like, oh, a lot of people don't understand the secret because the secret is contentment. And a lot of times TV, social media are telling us what we're worth if we have this one thing. And the more things that we compile, the more things that we get, the harder we got to work for. You know what I'm saying? So it's just this
Hmm.
snowball effect when ultimately we get to miss out on great relationships with people just because we're just so busy. And so
Yeah, it was so busy. And I want to reframe contentment because some people, when you hear contentment, a lot of times people hear being satisfied or settling.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
That's
oh,
not what,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's not, to me, I feel like contentment, especially in that sense, is peace.
mm-hmm,
It is gratitude,
mm-hmm,
right? So everything may not look or be, because not necessarily how it looks, but everything might not be the way that you envision it or have been praying for. Like everything is kind of all over the place right now.
mm-hmm.
Contentment is not, well, I'm just gonna settle for things being all over the place.
Right, right, right.
Contentment is even in this space where things are all over the place, I trust God.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Even in this place, I have peace because I trust him and I know he's going to take care of me because this is seasonal.
Yep.
This is not what it's going to be always, you
Hmm.
know? And even in the sense of things that last a little longer, when you do that internal work and really dive into your relationship with God and just, connecting with him, there's this the peace that surpasses all understanding is a real thing. I got to experience that for the first time in my life last year after having a very hard year in 2024 in my business.
Hmm.
And turn things upside down for us in our lives. And 2025 coming right into it is where I just was like, "Oh, this is the peace that we've been singing about and talking about because life will test you and it will really test whether or not you trust God or not."
Yep.
And when you get to that point where even when things are chaotic and crazy, you are content because you are content with the fact that you know that he got you,
Hmm.
you trust him, and that peace comes over you.
Yeah.
You're like, hey,
Yep.
I mean, you're still human,
Of course. Of course.
right? You're still human, but it's a different feeling.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole episode within itself, right?
It is.
Yeah. So as we get ready to end the show, we're almost an hour in already. What is your parting piece of advice for people that's married and have a business? What is your piece of advice for them in order to make both of them work?
I would say do it together. Even if you're not in the business, if one partner is in the business full time, the other partner is not. Let's say you have a full time job. What would be helpful is to care about and to inquire about and be curious about the business. How
Mm-hmm.
can I support you? Right. And if it's nothing that you can support, business wise, like operationally or sales or marketing or anything like that, maybe it's going on a date. Maybe it's making sure that every week y'all going somewhere to
Yeah.
spend time away from the kids.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, now Netflix has these games that you can play. You scan it with your phone. Y'all, we played Pictionary the other night in the bed. So
Yeah.
much fun, right? Realize neither one of us know how to draw. So maybe it's something like that. That's support. That's still supporting the business because if you can invest in your partner's well-being, then you are investing in the business because they feel good. Then when they get up in the morning and they're doing that work, right? um the also with the investment and being showing support is really being intentional about how you communicate and learning how they hear and receive, right? So you know how they give because when they speak to you or when they text you or write, you're reading what they're saying or you're hearing what they're saying, but how are they receiving? Are you speaking in a way to where they can actually receive that? Are you using the language that they can actually receive? So support, all of that is support, and we don't think about it as support. We go, well, I don't work the business, they work the business. No, but if you love it on them and you're making time, intentional, and you are supporting their well-being, you are, can I give you a back massage, like whatever that is, that actually invest in the business, you're supporting them in that way. And maybe for if it's if you're married and the husband is like working all day too, but your wife is at home and she's working the business, give her 15-20 minutes without the kids.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, hey, I'm gonna go take them to get some ice cream at Andy's.
Yeah.
Or leave y'all mama alone for a second. Mama get some rest. I'm gonna close the door. The boy's not gonna bother you. That kind of thing. But I want to encourage everybody to reframe support, what that looks like and how you invest in each other. Even if you're doing a business together, how can you support each other?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Wow. Well, this has been a phenomenal episode. This is the first episode. This is season 12. We're starting the season back.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, so this is how you kick off a new season. So I'm
Nice.
definitely excited about this season. It's been a full schedule. Schedule is maxed out, and so it's going to be a great month in March. So I'm excited. Kiosha, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you, what you got going on, all of the good stuff.
Absolutely. So my primary social media platform is LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, I'm on there as K LaFleur Anders, K period. LaFleur Anders. And then Coffee Milk Media is my media company. It is also on LinkedIn. And we're just getting started on Instagram. I like to say LinkedIn is where we do the roasting of the brew of the coffee, and Instagram is going to be where we pour. So you're going to see the finished product on Instagram. So that one is going to grow really slow, but connect with us there. There are events coming up. We are a studio that will be moving around and grabbing content, all for storytelling for impact and well-being. So good, wholesome stories that make us all aware of what we should be doing and paying attention to in our communities, but also giving us the tools and resources to act on it, not just be aware, but like what can we do and what can we do together so people can be well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I love it. Well, I'll have everything linked in the description below. Everyone, make sure you go and hit those links below because you just never know what kind of connection you can make. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, share this with someone. You never know what someone is going through. Put this video in your group chat, okay? Because I know it's like five of you all. Put it in a group chat, you watch it, and then you get back in the group chat and you all start talking about the episode and how it helped you. If you are listening to this via podcast, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. By doing so, put you in a drawing for a free Amazon gift card. Who doesn't like free stuff? Make sure you hit the like button. Like I said, share this with someone. This has been a phenomenal episode. This is Shon Hyneman with my special guest. Am I pointing the right way? Yeah, this way. Okay.
Thank you so much, Sean, for having me.
All right. All right, Brave Arts community. Take care. Stay online. Don't hang yet.
Okay.